Grura.
Royra, it sounds like you need to give me back my goddamn money. Is what I need
Here
you
you
to
go.
do.
Here's another $1,000,000.
No,
Not that we have money to
no,
spare.
no, that's not what I'm asking for. It sounds like I put an interest on it because I'm sort of a loan shark also. So when I asked you to give me back my money, I was actually asking you to give it to me times 10 for the long time you've
We
been
don't have that
as
money.
that. So I know what I
Every
said. You're poor.
everything else is dedicated to the war effort that we are losing.
Well, it sounds like you need some help.
You are already fine. We'll touch back on this topic another
I
day.
will use my services. How much are you hiring to?
Wow, my top general that my top general and wife is now charging me to be here. And it's like it's not as if she can just fly. She can casually fly back up to the Cloud Kingdom, leave me here. No, she's choosing here, and now she's making me pay her.
It's not about the concept and who I am. Just because a
Uh,
rich person comes and asks you for money because they're their paycheck doesn't mean that, like, you don't know my circumstances. You didn't even ask me, Ayumii, how you doing? How's the Cloud Kingdom? You only asked me to come down here and shed blood and tears for your kingdom, for Goyra. You don't even ask me how the Cloud
I
Kingdom is.
do
I
the
haven't even checked
I
on them.
always ask.
Guys, when did you ask? We've been here for an hour, 40 minutes, and 56 seconds. When did you ask?
Not today.
I've been asking you about your economy this whole time, wondering why you're so poor. I've been caring. I wonder. Oh my god.
She enjoys this. She enjoys this. She enjoys trying to gaslight me into doing shit.
Gaslight is not the right
She
term. It's
enjoys she
more.
enjoy it's more bullying.
It's more, you
We
know,
all we're all listening. We're all
right?
listening.
I enjoy this. Humiliation would bring peace. Sis, you can take half my money. I'm helping pay Lynn's debt. Just don't make me come in that VC and deal with you. Whoa! Whoa! All of a sudden, because he's your brother-in-law, you're gonna take his side? What the fuck? I also... Is it just me or the... Yo, Livy sent me the funniest fucking meme ever. I
Oh, what she
absolutely
said.
died. Livy, you remember that meme you sent me and Yellow? And you were like, this could be us and Lynn, but he... Bros
Oh, please
before
send this to
potatoes!
me.
And the
Bros
Nemo,
before potatoes.
yes! Yes! Oh my god, there's no more if he grovels on his knee. Exactly, if only he grovels, then the whole situation would have been fixed. Oops. I was about to show my DMs. By accident. That would have been bad. That would have been bad.
Oh, yeah, do not show your Discord DMs on stream,
I
please.
was not
Do not,
trying
please,
to.
do not do that.
I was trying to
Please do
go
not do that.
to the knee balls. Yo, Livy is so fucking funny.
Chad, she almost did something that she would have
Oh
had to
my
nuke the VOD
god.
for.
I would have
She would
had
have had
to
to
immediately end stream and delete the
nuke the
VOD.
VOD.
I would immediately would have to leave stream. At least we didn't see your internet history. Venti rule. Don't worry, I'll show
Listen,
you guys your internet history.
I'll show you guys my internet history too.
It's gonna be all Ayumii. Yikes.
No, it's gonna be a lot more than that,
What?
but not what you think it is. I got
What?
nothing to hide there.
What?
There's nothing to hide there.
What
Did you
type
send
of
me this
shrimp
meme?
are you? What type of shrimp doesn't only search up what he shrimps for?
Because I'm not a shrimp.
Well, now you're just capping.
I'm your husband. There's a difference.
Somebody get this guy.
I'm waiting for this meme.
Oh, only if Livy allows me to send it.
Livy, can I see the meme, please?
Yeah, sure. I'll do you.
Yay.
Okay, hold on.
You got 30 minutes until you have to do cloud set. You guys, you have me for 30 more minutes. Damn, I miss streaming.
I bet you do. Hold on.
I miss streaming. But I miss streaming to you guys. That's why when I come back, I'm doing like the first stream back's just gonna. I'm just immediately just gonna get throw everyone into a subathon.
Yikes.
Do you need me to put my sister into her tuna can?
Why am I
No,
being
no,
put
that
into
won't
a
be
tuna can?
necessary. That won't be necessary.
Why would I be put into a tuna can?
That won't be necessary.
Why are you guys trying to put me into a tuna can? Bro, I want to play Dead by Daylight.
This could have been me.
Will you download Dead by Daylight when you come back? Hello?
I'm here. I'm here. I already have it downloaded. Computer.
Your stuff needs to be updated now.
Well, sure. That'll take less than a minute.
That will
5
take
minutes.
less than a minute.
Most.
5 minutes. Meow, 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 meow. Does
Only
he
if
look
you
like
promise to
seaweed?
take your medication.
What the fuck? He needs his medication.
No, I do not. No, I do not, because my hair's already that long. Livy, my hair's already that long. Wait, have I not shown you what I look like? I've shown yellow. Have I not shown you?
It looks like a little.
I don't look little.
No, I said he. I was trying to say something, but I didn't finish my sentence.
Oh, okay.
You look like a little lumberjack. That's what. That's what. Who said that? Somebody said that. Somebody said
Libby,
he looked like a
I'm gonna
lumberjack.
send you a picture to your DMs. Let me find a selfie, a good
All right,
selfie.
have a good nap, Livy. Love you, love
Have
you.
a good nap. Let me find a selfie real quick.
Hold on, let me give you a shout out. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, Ayumii, I found that selfie where where I looked all like 67.
He sent me this photo and he looked like a fucking 67-year-old. I was like, why do you look so aged? Good day.
Here we go.
Oh, this is NSYNC. Oh. You
There you
guys
go,
remember
Livy.
NSYNC? Bros. I want to hear like I'm gonna have to make a Christmas playlist myself. Because all these Christmas playlists are ass.
Yeah, make one and then send me it.
It's the most beautiful time of the year.
I hope
Did I
I'm
show you
back
my
by
B-Day
Christmas.
pic? No, you didn't. That would be nice. And I could give you a fucking gift. It's out on a holiday. Stop staring at your face. Guess I'll help you make your playlist if you want. Okay, I want like a mix between good old timey ones and newer ones, you know? We're about 60% of the way in the download. Will we be able to touch the game before cloud set? Let's see.
No.
Yes, I will.
No.
Yes, I will.
But she will be playing this game during Cloud Set Chat. I promise you that.
I'm gonna play it on stream.
You're gonna play it on stream, so you're gonna do it after?
I'll toss in Trinidad Christmas songs. Ooh. Oh, Eel's from Trinidad.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I told my mom about
Oh,
you.
yeah.
My first Trinidadian viewer and brother.
Hell yeah.
With you, shawty with you, shawty with you. Under the mistletoe. Nikki Infinity, will you download faster? For me, pleasant. Thank you.
No, Nikki Infinity is not gonna download faster.
Well, you told Auntie
You're
about me. What
streaming.
did she say? She was so excited and happy. She was like, oh my god. I told her about you when you first joined. Why is he still here?
Because I am allowed to be here. Thank you
That's
very
a
much,
big
Yellow.
yikes. She said, why is he still here? Ooh, you know what we could play?
I'll be leaving soon, don't worry.
Damn, why'd you say it like that?
Yellow clearly wants me gone.
Oh, of course not. Remember when she was on your side yesterday or something?
That was only because it benefited her.
Because it benefited her. Why do you sound so sad?
Because that's the truth.
Oh no. Alright guys, you know what time it is? Hold on. Where is it? Where's it on stream? I don't know why I didn't think about doing this. For Twitch streamers. Okay, I got it. Low latency. Authorize.
See, she's proving me right.
Tell me, baby, that you love me. Yo, we got a Christmas Ayumii cute. Hi, Nancy. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We're about to do some words on stream. I'm gonna watch the download over here.
Oh yeah, this game.
Oh shoot. Hoi hoi, madam. Okay.
Oh, of course, that's the.
Snowman, how are you? Oh, I see one. Oh no. River. Wait. Where?
There you go.
Oh wait, there's four
Oh,
letter
there's only
words.
one R. There's only one R.
Oh. Nope. Damn, I suck at this. Absolutely suck at this, bros. Oh, preview is crazy. You got the biggest word. Laugh and play. ERP.
That's not a word.
Oh my god,
That's
I
an
only know
acronym.
slang. I only know
You know
slang.
slang. That's an
This is
acronym. That's
so
not a word.
unfortunate. Um. Oh man. Is viper not a word? Crazy. Oh wait, it was already said. Hi, Bat. Welcome in. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Damn, they need to give us an easier level because honestly, I'm dumb as hell. Wire, where? Here? Oh, there we go. Oh, everything's in letter Viper. Oh, guys, we did try, and I thank you for trying. I'm trying. Oh, to Buttman, but people are getting me pissed off after hearing too much about this TikTok band. Wait, a TikTok band? A TikTok band? Here? Deal. Ooh. Oh, deal was already said. Oh. Oh. Feed?
Ayumii.
Yeah?
Check your DMs.
Okay.
But bye-bye, chat.
Have a good time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. He's gone. Finally is crazy. Okay, okay. 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 Oh! Wait, I just saw a word. Woo! I'm sorry, I'm texting him. Okay. Guys, I don't know. I don't know. Is it me? That might be me. Yeah, it's a podio going on with the US government banning TikTok because they're selling our information. Oh, because they're selling our information from the Chinese servers. But I kind of feel bad for the creator of TikTok. Like apparently the servers are in US United States, so now TikTok has one chance to stay alive. Trust me, I'm not really here politics puzzling. I've just been here and there's a lot. Oh my god. That is actually kind of crazy. Oh! Is there 2 L's? Oh my god. It seems like... Wait, I got this. Ah! I got one! I'm gonna go in your teapot. Are you really? What are you gonna do in the teapot? I'm waiting for this download to finish. God damn. There's no... Honestly, I don't know. Alright, enough of this. Did you show your wife, by the way? No, I didn't get to show her, so I'll show her later. Because she had work today and then she was like sleeping. There's only 5 gigabytes left. Let's go. But the whole TikTok thing, I honestly don't understand because it just seems like, you know, you call me right now. Ooh, you trying to chat with me? Hold on. All right, guys, we're phoning our next caller. We're phoning our next caller. We left my husband and now we're coming to my wife. Hello?
What's up, fuck nuts?
What's up?
I'm in bed.
Oh, really? I was about to ask you, you want to run one game of Valorant before Cloud set?
One game.
I mean, honestly, I could probably play. I just won't be able to speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
Cause it's coming to town. And if it's not that, oh, I could actually play Overwatch and not think.
Ew.
But you don't want to play Overwatch. Then we gotta download Marvel Rivals. Are you gonna play Marvel Rivals with me?
I can do.
All right, so let's do it.
I got to turn my PC on then.
Oh, I'm gonna download it. So you want to play Wednesday?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing Wednesday with you, and I think I'm hanging Thursday with Yuri, right?
I don't know.
Damn, I can't remember what we said.
Why am I the one that's supposed to be remembering? It's not my schedule.
I leave and you're still downloading Nikki. Yeah, I'm downloading it. Fast. Because my internet's so ass. It's been downloading like under 10 megabytes a second.
Yeah, you have a good ass.
Did you like the bit with Lynn?
No.
Oh, damn. Can't relate. I get 10 times than that. Oh my god. Well, it's also probably because I'm streaming, so. Because I usually get at least 15. Between 15 and 20.
Wow, a whole 5 less.
No, I'm getting 9 now. You mean 5 more.
What? Whoa.
You just woke up. Never
Whoa.
mind. You woke up. Did you download Shinova? No, I haven't downloaded it yet. I'm gonna download it, and we're gonna probably play
strangle you.
Shinova. I'm thinking. I want to play Infinity Nikki this week. I want to
I'm gonna choke your
play
balls.
Nikki this week. Marvel Rivals. Okay, that's 4 games so far, and we're streaming 5 days, so I guess I'm only gonna play one gacha, or one of our usual gachas this week. So which is it? I haven't touched
Okay.
ZZZ. It needs to be Woo-Wah, actually. It needs to be Woo-Wah.
No, it's fine. Jake can wait.
I need to play Woo-Wah before that bitch leaves. I need to go get Camilla.
Who?
Hey, yo, if you want more, just ask. Luckily, I've been trying to play Marvel Rivals. How's it been going in playing Marvel Rivals? Do you like it? I hear everybody really likes it. What'd you say, Yellow?
I like you.
Aw, I wish I felt this. And I'm just kidding. I love you, bitch.
What the fuck?
You know, one of my favorite memes is this guy. He's singing to this girl, and he's got no shirt on. His pants are hanging below his ass crack, and he's playing this guitar. And I can't even call it really playing because he's just really strumming on it. And he's just strumming against it. And he goes, I love you, bitch. I ain't gonna ever stop loving you. Guitar strum. Bitch. It's the literal most funniest.
What were you trying to remember regarding the schedule?
Are we playing anything on Thursday? Are we playing something together on Thursday? Me and you? I ain't gonna stop loving you. You know what you're not talking about, that. Damn, we still waiting. We still are waiting. It's so unfortunate. I tried to do words on stream, but I guess because it's an Ayumii chat, we're all dumb. So, well, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We just did not do well. It just kept failing because we didn't do it. We did not complete it. No, I know what I said. Ayumi's chat's dumb. Bitch. Yeah, I don't know what you were saying. I was like, wait, I totally remember this one game we could play while we sit here, and I download this, and it didn't go well. It was just absolutely. You're so right. You know what? If you try and fail, you can never know until you try and succeed. You know, you just gotta try at least once. Okay, wait. I gotta find this meme because it's absolute gold. It's absolute gold. Wait, did you choose a new domain? I did not choose a new domain because I did not go back on Genshin because after our hangout time, I went straight to Overwatch. And then after Overwatch, I went to Valorant. And then after Valorant, I went to sleep. And then when I woke up, I was fixing myself. I woke up kind of tipsy, I'm not gonna lie. I woke up a little tipsy. I got out of my bed and I was like, ooh, my stomach don't feel good. Let me go to the bathroom. And then I kind of wobbled. And I was like, whoa, what's happening? I almost fell. No, you and I are on Tuesday and Sunday is a group. Okay. Which one do you like the most? I'll just unlock it and do some work. Wait, can you send me in DMs the pictures? I woke up hungover as fuck. Damn. Well, you were taking straight shots of Hennessy, so I would believe so. I would 100% believe so. I'd carry words on stream. All right, I'm gonna let you do it again. Come here. Bring that ass.
This fucking Windows 11 update, it keeps fucking changing my default mic.
Why?
I don't know.
All right, second time's the charm. You guys ready?
No, it's not the right one.
And me turned wanting us to stream LAD together or something with it. Oh, Love in Deep Space. I was like, what's LAD? Pine? Ooh. Pig! Oh.
You good, bro?
Ping! Let's go!
What are you doing? Oh, you're playing Words on
Oh,
Stream. Words on
E.
Stream.
Okay, what are E words?
Whatever one it's called.
E. Oh, wait. Eggnog. Let's go. Oh, that's not me. Oh, man.
Isn't Sunday Fortnite with that person we met on Valorant?
Yeah, it is. Next week, Sunday.
No.
N. Jingle
Going back,
bells,
Harry.
jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
I can jingle your bells.
Aw, I love when you jingle my bells. Hold up, let me send this message real fast.
That was meant to be sexual, not cute.
Dashing through the snow, the one-horse open sleigh.
Yeah, I move your big ass head.
My head's not in the way. Oh, I can't see shit? Oh, okay, I guess I am in the way. I'm sorry.
Move that big ass forehead.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
How about knowing in the future then, huh?
Song tonight. Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Jingle bells, you smells.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so cold. You warm me up right now.
Oh, okay. I gotta touch you for that.
Touch me any day, baby.
Whoa, I got 7 stars. Hey, how's this download doing? Sorry.
Chat, she cares more about her download than she does about you.
This is true. What is it? God damn it. I don't even know what that fucking pop-up is. I need to Google what that is. Cause it's like, or maybe I gotta reboot my PC or something, cause I think I broke it.
What did
Maybe
you
I don't know.
download that isn't able to run on your PC?
I didn't download anything. I think,
Well, you seem to have.
well, I don't know. I'm gonna help you. Hold up. This is hard. I know I said I'm gonna help you, but bitch, I ain't got nothing to help for it.
I love how Vax said he'd carry.
No, he's carrying. He's actually carrying. He's got 3 words. I don't even. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I just thought of a word that he just wrote.
L.
L is right.
I have Ligma.
Damn, you trying to lick my?
Ligma what?
Lick my balls, bitch.
Ah! Oh my god, I can't believe I fell for that.
I know. You're so silly.
I'm so silly. I can't believe I fell for
You're
that. I'm so silly.
so silly. Damn, he actually carried. Nah, this round is actually hard. Why are they giving us hard rounds when they know we don't play this? This is why we don't play.
Hey, did you hear Seema?
A seamer?
Seema, yeah.
What is that? Wait, hold on.
Seema balls!
Dang! I love you, bitch. Wait,
I love you, bitch.
Hold on, I gotta find it. Let me see. I found it. Wait. I found it. Wait.
I love you, bitch.
Wait, no, but why is she crying?
Bitch. I love you, bitch. I ain't gonna never stop loving you.
You definitely cheated and then did that.
Bitch.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Not because why?
I love you, bitch.
Why is her friend hyping her like this is the greatest thing in the world? Oh my
I ain't
god.
gonna never stop
He's
loving
gonna
you.
find my address and do that outside my house.
I'm gonna come outside her house, pants down and everything, titties out. I love you.
Titties out? You wouldn't even need the guitar.
I wouldn't even.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you.
Stop watching this stupidity. Oh my god, I love it
Those
so
titties are coming out, the
much.
guitar wouldn't even be needed.
You know what's my next favorite meme?
Yourself?
Hold on. Hold on. This is my next favorite meme, bros. In a second. Okay, let's do this.
Oh, the Arkansas one. You wanna see my favorite meme? I'll send it to you in DMs.
Sure.
So I am confusion.
I am
Why
confusion.
this one Kansas,
Kansas?
but this one is not Arkansas.
That's my favorite meme.
America, explain. Explain. What do you mean in Arkansas? What?
Why is this one Kansas, but this
So
one
I
isn't
am
Arkansas?
confusion.
No, but
Why
she
America
cooked,
explain.
she really cooked America
one is
in
not
one
Arkansas.
sentence.
America, explain.
I'm your favorite
Explain. What do you
meme.
mean in Arkansas?
That's crazy.
Except I don't really laugh half the time.
Oh, dang. Oh, I gotta change the titles.
I am
It's no longer
confusion.
Soggy Lynn.
Why is this one
Kansas?
It's sexy
And
yellow.
this one,
It's
not
not
Arkansas.
I can change it.
America,
I can change it.
explain. What do you mean it's Arkansas?
What?
I can change it. Hold on.
Can you name it wah 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 in capitals for me?
So I am
No, I have a better idea.
Damn it. Now that she knows how to change the title, now she's gonna change it to things that are unnecessary. Someone stop her while she's ahead. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, no more slow music because I'm so over this slow music. Nat King Cole, absolutely cool. He cooks every song. This is not Nat King Cole though. Side, we're happy tonight. Walking in the
There we go.
Yellow is the sexiest person I know. Crazy. It's not
There you go.
true, but definitely crazy.
It is true.
It can't be true.
It is
because
true.
the sexiest person I know is me, so it cannot be true.
Second, maybe. Second.
Second.
Very close second.
You're probably.
I'm probably right. I mean, look at me. You've seen me.
You are
I'm
very
I'm
gorgeous.
sexy, bro.
You are very gorgeous. Second sexiest person after me, because obviously I love myself first. Has
Prove
to
it
be.
right now. Prove it right now. Prove it.
Now I'm
Prove it.
sexy. Okay, King, let's go. Wait, prove
We
it.
love confidence. Yeah, prove it.
Prove it. You want to see?
Yeah, prove it.
Imagine I sent you a plastic bag over my head.
That would be a very you thing to do.
That would be.
But you'd suffocate in it by accident, so I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
would
Am I wrong?
Probably, but it's okay though because dox myself. You wanna dox yourself?
I want Ayu to dox herself to me.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I mean, I could definitely. I was wondering what were these little My build is cute.
Your what?
Why
Do?
Oh, it's because it's the music in the song. I was like, what are these little like effects? I love how he's talking about himself like he's a character in Honkai Star Rail.
Okay, I'm looking at
My
your
build
rules here,
is
right?
cute. Okay, what's the rules?
No racism, sexism, homophobia, or any type of hate slander. You were there were some jokes you were making the other day. So you're not listening to your own rules. Respect the mods. You don't respect us. You're not old enough for a Twitch account. You don't respect us. You don't keep chatting to content what we're doing. You backseat me all the time when we're playing games.
Yikes.
You spam, and you don't work to make it a fun and safe place.
I do. I make sure this is
So
the
Ayu
same.
breaks all her rules, chat. Every single one of them.
Yo, is that Nuki? What's
This is
up,
the streamer you
gang?
want to be popular? She breaks all her own rules.
Wait, they're not rules for me. They're rules for you. They're rules for you. Okay, hold on. Yuri's texting me.
Oh yeah, that's perfect cause to drop everything. We love when Yuri texts.
Of course.
Wait for Yuri to say hi to me. I'm not saying hi back. I'm not saying hi first. Yuri needs to say hi first.
Now you saying that? I can't believe you just said that. I'm so dead.
I'm not wrong.
Oh my
Though.
god.
You break all your own
right.
rules.
When we playing the new Marvel game together, homie? Ooh, I'm downloading it. So Wednesday, if you want to hop in. I'm just gonna be doing VC with her though. But you could totally play and hop in for some games.
I'm her.
Yeah.
My god.
I know. Did you like how I adjust you?
Yeah,
Like
that's
my
so,
side
that's so
hoe?
cool. Oh.
What is going on with this checking resources?
I'm only one person's side hoe. I'm Livy's side hoe.
The game is downloaded. There's nothing more for this to do. Why are you checking resources? Check your DMs. Damn. Am I about to see the build?
I got you. I was streaming it today. Shit was fun.
I think I spent too much time with your channel. Look at your Twitch
so
recap. Look at Twitch recap in your
I got you
server.
with streaming today. Shit was fun. Let's go. Thank you so much for the 8 months, Nuki. I appreciate you. Oh.
She doesn't. She's lying to you.
I do. I really do. All right, guys. Cloud says gonna be a little late, but that's okay. We're gonna wait for Yuri. Cloud says nothing without Yuri.
And it's everything without Len.
That is crazy. Hold on. I gotta watch this.
Well, we know I hate this man.
Oh yeah, I gotta watch this. Yeah, I know. She never talks to me, man. She hates me. What? I have not seen this, so I'm gonna... Let me watch this. Hold on. Are you guys ready?
I don't know. Am I?
Love yourself. Is he not wearing clothes?
Is he not wearing clothes? Oh, he's okay. He's wearing a Speedo. Why is he out in public wearing a Speedo?
Accept yourself.
And why is he jumping around? I would be
yourself.
scared to be the people on that street. Is that what it's like in NY? It's just people like that are on the streets.
Yes.
I don't think I want to come visit you anymore, Ayumii. I'm kind of scared for my own safety after seeing that video.
Oh my god. This is so good.
What is that yellow thing? Is that one of those
I
squeaky chickens?
I thought it was a banana. It's a squeaky
I also thought it was a banana. I think it's a squeaky chicken. Why is he holding a squeaky chicken?
It's a squeaky chicken. That's kind of nuts. Thank you for blessing my eyes, by the way. Oh, guys. All right, come here, Yellow.
Okay.
Let me see. That was fucking funny. So we got.
I'm coming. That was from Yuri, not from you. I don't come when I'm with you. I fake it.
Oh my god. That's why your ass is going up in the corner. Right there.
Hey, I don't want to go in the corner. Put me on your head.
Okay, fine. Well,
Yay.
okay. Let me fix where I'm gonna be, and then you can go on my head. Yes. Jingle bells. There you go.
Yay.
Right, Bundy, you here? Nah, bro, goes
I'm riding her head like Ratatouille. I'm pulling her hair. I'm the one controlling stream now.
You're so cute. Bundy! The game's finally downloaded after a whole hour.
The person you raided last night was playing this.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sakura, right?
Yeah.
Jingle.
Chat, do you know Ayu said that I'd be a really big bully if I fell asleep before her? That I'd be the biggest bully of all time if I fell asleep first.
I'm glad you didn't
And then she ends up falling asleep while we're mid-conversation.
Hi, Chando. Thank you for the kisses. Welcome in. How are you? Oh, yeah, am I gonna have to, like, sign in? Thank you for playing Infinity Nikki. We're deeply committed. All right. Log in. All right, hold up, guys.
Is this a Hoyo game?
It's not a Hoyo game, but agree. Let me sign in. And I don't know my password.
Yuri's yet to say hi to me.
Yuri literally just said BRB.
Yeah, but I've been here ages.
She's doing something, so I'm gonna need you to get your shit together.
No. I don't think I will, actually.
Oh my god, and thank you for the check-in. Hi, John Doe. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.
It's actually Sunday.
In America.
It's 1 a.m. on a Sunday. Shut up.
America.
Shut up. You don't even believe that.
I really don't. I really don't. I actually physically really don't.
I mean, after what I've seen on the news, that's...
I really do not. You're so right.
Land of the free, more like land of the fucking convicts.
Mm-hmm. J-I-N-G-L-E-L-S. Let me see. Ooh, if catgirls are real, do you think people would hunt them for their pelts? I mean, they really only have furry ears and tails, but you could probably make a catgirl belt or a pair of shoes or something. That's terrifying. Isn't that terrifying?
I hunt this one for sport.
You hunt me for sport?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Oh, okay, I found the password. Perfect. Welcome in, Tolden Stone. Holy shit. So you're saying you would hunt them for sport? You would like a pelt of a cat girl? Just check on your DMs in Discord.
Wait.
Okay.
Do you... If catgirls were real, do you think they'd have coarse tongues like cats do, or normal tongues?
Oh my
like humans
god,
do?
maybe coarse tongues?
That'd be great for head.
Oh my... Ooh, okay, the floating abode. There you go.
When are you gonna give me a real orgasm?
What the fuck?
I said what I said. I can't keep faking it forever, you know.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
My back hurts.
Oh my god, guys. I'm actually about to throw a fit because look at this shit.
I don't want to look.
Look
I don't
at
wanna look.
this.
I don't want to look.
Welcome in,
I don't want to.
Raiders. Hello, welcome. I'm Ayumii.
Oh, that's actually adorable.
Welcome to my cloud kingdom where the sky is not the limit. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Hi, Socialz. Thank you for the check-in. How are you?
So how slow is the second download?
We're at 4%, bro. If it takes just as long as the first download, I might commit arson. I just might commit arsony.
How about you just
become a
have
criminal.
e-text right on stream?
Thank you for the check-in. Hello, Shino. Wolf, how are you? Thank you for the check-in. Hi, Wolf. How are you? Welcome. We're going to be streaming until Yuri comes back. We've been just chatting. We've been vibing. We're hanging out with Lynn. And we're hanging out with Yellow. Noah's crazy. Keep your head out the gutter, Yellow. And we've just honestly been jumping from topic to topic. I'm gonna be completely honest. This looks so cute. This looks like a perfect game for me to play. So if I end up just streaming Infinity Nikki all of my life, you guys won't be upset, right?
I will.
No, because look at this.
Because how can we play Valorant?
It's at 9%.
You know you didn't do your raid intro, right?
I did do it. I said, welcome, thank you, and Raiders. Welcome to the Cloud Kingdom. I'm Ayumii. And then I was introducing.
Well, do it again. I like hearing it.
Okay. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Ayumii. Welcome to my Cloud Kingdom where the sky is not the limit. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Ooh, there you go. I'm good. Wolfie helped me become a PC VR chat player. Exciting!
Oh, I read that as pro.
Oh.
Dyslexia go crazy. I fully read that as pro.
Hey, Ayu, hope you're well. I gotta dip for the night. Have a good stream, Queen. Love you. Have a good night, Landon. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Are you instant chat for me? I'm gonna get a drink.
Okay. Oh, feels so good to take care of yourself. Get some water, some noms, and thank you for trusting your community with us. Yes. If you love what you see here, feel free to join the Discord. W-E-O. 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 We love EO. I hope you guys had a wonderful time in VR chat. Oh my god. I can't wait. We need to plan and do a New Year's VR chat party with everybody. I'm gonna make it a big event. Biggest event ever.
I hate you.
Alright, Yellow's back. We love Yellow.
We do. I could hear everything, so even if you were insulting me, I'd have heard it.
Blink. Blink if you're happy.
Fucking blink right the fuck now and tell everyone you're here willingly.
I'm happy. I'm safe. I love being here. Are you forcing me to get on? Yes, I will. Not in your teapot though, lol. Wouldn't have enough space. Aww. So true, Queen. Sounds fun. Yes. All right. So I'm gonna plan out the whole thing. It's gonna be a spectacular event. We're probably gonna first get everybody in the party room, dance, talk, mingle for a bit, get our drinks, and then when everybody's good to go, we're probably gonna do some fireworks, watch some fireworks, and then after the fireworks, maybe a story game, and then a bar, and then maybe world hop for a bit, you know? I'm probably gonna get
I'm gonna world hop into your mum.
Yikes. I'm probably gonna get a few worlds just ready on standby for it. I have a sniper trained on the enemy at you. Do you want me to take the shot? Yes, please. Please, between my antlers. I mean, I'm happy. I'm blinking. I'm blinking. Oh my god. Bring your snacks, drinks, no glass bottles, and feel free.
I'm gonna litter all over the cloud kingdom.
Yikes!
I'm gonna smash glass bottles. I'm gonna throw cigarette butts everywhere.
Why would you do that? No glass bottles. We gotta be safe.
I'm allowed. I'm a smoker. I'm allowed to throw it.
There's gonna be a lot of interworld travel. We can't have glass bottles all the time. No glass bottles. And we'd like to say a word of prayer to thank the year for all the amazing people who joined the Cloud Kingdom. Yes.
No.
Ayumii!
I technically joined last year.
Hi, Nix. Welcome in. Hello, hello. How are you? Oh my god, we were just talking about you.
We were. Not just, but we were talking about you.
We were talking about you like 5 minutes ago.
It was longer than 5 minutes ago.
Maybe 10 minutes ago. I'm thinking about getting that game. Wait, for real? Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about Sunday.
Yes.
We were talking about next Monday.
Scary. Scary is right.
We summoned you.
Straight from the bottle if it's a party. Come on now.
I drink straight from Ayumii's mouth as we're making out.
I just automatically pour a bottle in my mouth and she just comes in closer and now we're just spilling all the alcohol out because she's making out with me, you know? Yes, oh my god, Sunday. I fear I had already forgotten. That's okay. Don't worry, don't worry. Yuri will remind everybody when the time comes. So nobody has to technically remember until the day of.
Is that why you can never remember anything? You just rely on Yuri all the time?
Yeah. You text me?
You should probably start remembering. What are you eating?
I just started eating. How did you know?
I heard it.
From Chip.
From Chip. Has anyone ever told you that you absolutely suck? And that just... I bet the person who says that is devilishly gorgeous with the best British accent you've ever heard.
One of them, yeah.
The only one.
The loud ass bag. Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah. The loud ass bag is how I know. You pulling your hand out of the loud ass bag.
I'm sorry.
I also have chips, so I can't really say much.
Oh, Eel, I texted you.
Wow, you text everyone but me. She tells me she's texting and I go, you should text me, and so she goes, I am texting you, and I hear nothing after that.
I am texting you.
I heard nothing after that, and then I wake up and you're streaming. Like, bro goes, I am texting you, and it doesn't text me. It's like, I got gaslit, and I believed it.
I put a chip in my mouth and immediately fell out as she was speaking.
I got gaslit, bro. I believed you.
He's doing kindergarten bullying because he likes you. Oh, no. This is my wife. So, yeah. It's not kindergarten bullying. It's marriage bullying.
It's domestic abuse.
I'm gonna get banned, bro. I'm gonna get banned.
You said was.
I know that's the problem. We don't care what we see on this channel.
Look, I'm a mod. I'm above the rules. I don't have to worry about it.
There. Yum 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 yum. You guys hear this bag?
The only boss I listen to is Yuri, and she's not here right now. So.
When this game will be done?
When you're 90. Just like when Hugh Jackman's contract will end. Have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
I didn't.
What? It's such a good movie, bro!
I know. I'm so sorry. I was supposed to. I never got the chance to do.
Bro!
I will watch it, though. I will. I'm gonna buy the movie.
It's on
Remember
Disney
when I
Plus.
carried y'all on Fortnite? Yes, I do. We actually were playing Fortnite a couple of weeks ago. How many weeks ago was it?
Like 2.
2 weeks? Oh, I remember. As your brother-in-law, I have to apologize for my sister. Our parents found her in the garbage patch at the back of an abandoned factory in the old country. Welcome in, Raiders! I'm Ayumii. Welcome to my cloud kingdom where the sky is not the limit. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Breaks down the door. Bunny Brigade got a bit too excited and broke down your door. But here's a raid! Oh, that's so cute! Welcome in, Die Masker!
Just fix that.
Sana! Welcome in, definitely not AI! Welcome in, Asari! Hello! And thank you so much for the raid, Asari. How are you? It's a pleasure to meet you.
I don't think that person's AI.
I don't think they're AI. And thank you so much for the follow. Definitely not AI. I appreciate you so very much. How was your stream? Welcome in. I'm Ayumii. Hi, how are you?
No, I'm Ayumii.
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Of course, I'm always here to ask. I'm here to make sure you guys are okay. And I'm totally not here to suddenly sell you something. Did you guys know though, just for fun fact.
Boner pills.
I'm just actually joking. Welcome,
If your husband can't get it up, buy our boner pills. Side effects may include death.
I will like to apologize for me and her. We just tend to, like, you know, say whatever comes off the top of our heads. I don't know, butt sex, you know? It just comes off the top
When?
of our heads.
When? Like when?
Oh my god,
Question
it
mark?
happens, to be honest. You're so cute. Oh my god. Thank you for the follow, by the way. You're so cute. I'm looking at you right now and I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Well, not you. I'm talking about it. Sorry.
What the fuck? Compliment me right now.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Do I have to? You're so
Yes.
adorable. It's
Thank
a pleasure.
you.
Sorry. Oh my god, thank you. You're gonna make me blush. Aww. I love you both. The banter never ends here. Thank you so much for the follow, Kaisona.
I don't love her.
Huh?
What?
What?
I think you're hearing things.
What did you just say?
Nothing.
Did you guys hear her? Or wait, hold on. Let me. Hold on.
No, I think you're going crazy.
Hold on a second.
I think you're hearing things.
But were you guys also just chatting? What were you doing? I bet whatever you were doing, it was amazing. Because look at you guys. I love all of your names, by the way. Definitely not an AI. Supreme. Top. Amazing name. Asari.
Supreme
what?
Top?
Yeah.
You're not one of those.
Wow. Anyways, moving on. Asari what is so cute. It's like so catchy and creative. Ooh.
Unlike
Skyrim
Ayumii
with
XH.
CC. We were playing
Where did
Crowd
Ayumii
Control
XH come
Skyrim.
from?
I have lost all my sanity. That That is crazy. I don't think I could ever do CC because for any type of game, because they would bully me, bully me, and they would bully me.
Yep. Oh yeah.
ayumiixh came from I wanted to be Ayumii, and obviously I needed to have something at the end of it. I was making my account to be a VTuber, but I didn't think about being a VTuber, so I put XH because I thought it looked cool. Does it look cool? Do you guys think it looks cool?
Is this the part where I be truthful or I lie to you?
You lie to me.
Oh, it looks so good, Ayumii. It looks so cool. It really flavors your name.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. It really flavors your name.
I'm so glad you think so. I won't bully you. But it's okay. No. My friends can bully me 100%.
You're the first person to ever say that to her.
Oh, because wait, what?
What? What?
Wait, what?
What?
What'd you just say?
I think you're hearing things. You're really you're hearing things. I think you're going crazy in your old age.
God, it's as cool as your receding hairline. As my receding hairline.
Oh. Receding is a bit of a. That's a wig. That's a wig. There is no hairline.
Hold on. Receding.
Why do you think the hair changes so easily? It's a wig.
I have hair. Look, it's right there on my head. Look, there's a shadow. I have eyebrows. There's hair. Why would there not be hair on my head?
You must have just gotten skilled enough to add a shadow with a wig.
Wow. Do you see what I mean about the bullying?
Yeah, it's domestic abuse.
Oh my god. Hi, pretty. Can I call you that? Yes. Aren't we married now? Didn't we get married?
Really? While I'm here. Again.
I'm blinking. I'm happy. I'm blinking.
Blink faster. Tell everyone you're here willingly.
I'm willingly here. I love being here. I'm so happy to be here every day.
Good girl.
Hold on. Wait 1 second. Oh, I gotta blow my nose. Let me just blow my nose real fast. Don't tell Yellow this, but I love you, Nyx. Okay? But yeah, so I just had to blow my nose. Yeah, you know.
You look at the Twitch recap in your server.
Okay. Ooh, I love getting
I
Twitch
spend too much
recaps.
time in your
My
stream.
sham. Look.
2 days and 22 hours, 1,400 chat messages, and 11 out of 11 streams watched.
Yikes!
That shows I'm a good fucking mod.
Yikes! You just might be.
I just might be the best mod you have.
Oh.
No, second best mod. The best mod is Yuri.
Yuri might get upset. Guys, we get into the game.
Ah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you forget I don't get affected by your filters?
I did forget. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can lower my output for you.
Oh, that one I think was the worst one I've heard recently.
I'm so sorry. Let me see.
Not even the scream from Panicore was that bad.
Okay. Hello? Does it sound lower? Does it sound lower?
Yeah, it sounds better, yeah.
It does? Okay.
My ears
I'm
are
sorry.
Even my bad ear is ringing. That takes effort. You somehow made my deaf ear ring.
I actually just
That's
got
how
excited.
loud she is.
I actually really just got excited. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I know I was loud.
Oh.
Okay, I put my input.
How do you do that?
It's because my microphone's so close to my mouth.
You could make a deaf person hear. Cause you did. Oh my god.
I can't believe you're actually deaf. Wait.
How can you not believe it?
Can you put the game into...
I can change the... Yeah, was it called Nikki Infinity?
Infinity Nikki.
Oh.
You're very close. Yellow, and that's when she's gaming. Might need some profiles.
I might need to, honestly. Or I just wear earplugs.
Whoa! Follow the mysterious calling and keep moving forward.
Did it do it?
Huh? Did the what?
Don't mind me.
Okay, there we go. Okay, back to Valo. Oh my god, my Pookie. I miss you, my Pookie.
I played some Valo earlier and I cried myself to sleep.
Get up here.
No, I didn't. I actually did pretty well when I wasn't lagging.
Oh.
Okay, Momo. Just be careful.
Amen. Have fun with your Valo.
Who is that cat?
I don't know, but that's me, the pink one, and you're the cat.
No, I'm the pink one.
No.
I'm the one with pink hair!
I know, but you so much more like a cat.
Bro.
Okay, we can
Shut
both be the
the
pink
fuck
one.
up.
We can both be the pink.
Says the furry.
We're both
Bro
furries.
is a furry, and then... Oh, you never sent me that video, by the way. You said there was a video that opened your eyes.
Yes. Hold
And
on.
you never sent it to me.
It's gonna take me a minute to find it.
But I'm the pink one. You're the cat.
We can both be the pink one.
No. Only me.
Ooh, what's this?
Hello, it's the left boob and I use the right boob.
Wait, I actually agree with that. Oh my god.
I want to be the right boob, because the right side of me is my best side. Because I can see and hear out of that side.
Fine, I'll be the left boot. Okay.
That works.
Whoa.
That dress looks
Actually,
like the
Chad.
dress that my character's wearing in D&D at the moment.
Whoa. Huh? Whoa.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Whoa! Dark magic? Question.
Oh my god.
The dress is
Ooh.
alive? Question mark?
It pulled her pigtails out.
That's pretty gay.
Whoa.
Is she dancing with the dress?
She got into the dress. Oh my god. What does this mean? Oh.
Bro, this scene feels straight out of Final Fantasy.
It does.
I'll be fully real with you.
That hurts. Momo, are you alright?
Because like they just ripped the
Oh,
Final
they're
Fantasy game and made it
matching.
anime.
I'm fine. It's me after. Feels like this outfit took us to a strange place.
Well, why did it take us
You
here?
mean clothes with special powers?
Oh my god. A gacha game where the main character has fully voiced lines?
I know.
Say it isn't so. I didn't think that was possible.
You possess the threads of
Genshin could never.
Oh yeah, Ayu, you're in Isekai.
Come to my chamber.
Someone is calling to me. She mentioned something.
Did you know the Mario movie is an
Wait.
Isekai?
I love this dress because like the front is like burned.
It seems to know a
I can
lot.
burn you.
Momo,
Wink
let's go
wink.
look around.
Whoa, that is a cool design. It's like on the bottom.
It is really
half
cool.
Is fine. It is.
See, this is something I
burned.
would wear.
Oh shoot. A WSD follow the here's calling, keep moving forward. Okay.
Whoa, WASD to move? Never would have guessed.
Never would have guessed. Reloading.
Absolutely never would have
Right, press
guessed.
the middle mouse button to reset the view. Okay. While moving the mouse to adjust the view. Got it. I was already doing that.
Bro, your internet
It
sucks.
does.
Oh my god.
Good.
Moving the mouse, adjust your camera? Never would have guessed.
Ruins everywhere.
Ooh. I'm looking around. This feels like Elden Ring, but with pretty girls, so I would play.
It does look like Elden Ring with pretty girls.
Okay, well, moving with W.
I've been
press
playing a
space
shit
to
ton of
jump
Elden Ring at the
over
moment.
obstacles. Okay. Yippee! Yippee! Alright, roses are red.
Watch out.
Exactly.
Yellows
Io
are
gets it.
dumb. Ayumi's a sub with chains and handcuffs. Oh my god.
See, Io gets it.
What are we gonna do?
Well, this
Why
dress
can't
is
you?
fire. I would wear
Feel the presence.
Yeah, fire, literally, because it was on fire.
it.
of the floating while wearing this blue dress.
Oh, we're so funny.
Obstacles with ease.
Oh.
Like I was rewatching the VOD back. We're fucking hilarious.
No, we are. We are very hilarious. Okay, I'm moving forward. Hold with W and hold down.
I think the only person funnier than us is Captain Star.
I feel so light and airy.
Ooh, I changed dresses.
This wind?
Oh.
You changed dresses? Wow,
Yeah,
how
I'm
could
in a
you?
blue dress now.
How could you? Oh, there we go.
That's kind of
Oh.
crazy.
What is this game?
I don't know.
Your hair also changed.
Yeah, the whole outfit changed. But why did not the little character change? Press and hold to jump higher. When airborne, if Nikki reaches the edge of a platform at or below knee level, a climbing effect will trigger, helping her ascend the platform. Okay, wait, I don't know what that means, but there you go. Okay.
Oh god, it's Vundi.
It's finally done. Yeah, oh my god. When it finished, I called your name, but it was like not really finished because I had to do patching outside of game and in game. Watch for overhead obstacles and leave space ahead for a smoother jump. Okay.
I'm smooth.
Oh, they're not gonna tell me I can run.
And I use smooth brained.
There we go. I love that you can wear multiple dresses. You can enable jumping guides and settings. Okay. Okay. A minute. Ooh. Look at it. So.
Nikki, a monster!
A monster.
I like the ruin feel.
Spawned from dark essence.
It feels like a mix of Final Fantasy and Elden Ring.
And use this purification outfit to banish it.
Oh, we have purification outfits? Y'all are funny and funny looking. Damn!
Damn!
I'm the funny looking of them all. Kinda crazy.
That's you, bro.
Says we, bro.
You've got
Left click to
wolf
release
ears and real
purifying
human
orb,
ears.
which can purify S-lings. Target within the orb's path will glow white to assist while with aiming. Okay. Purified objects will revert to their original state. This brain is like a wet play park slide. All slides.
Yep.
All I do is slide right off. Wait,
No idea
did I just
sticks. It
lose
just
a
slides out and
heart?
gets lost into the ether.
I just fucking lost a heart, bro. Why?
Don't lose a fucking heart then.
Wait, what
Right,
did they tell
left
me
click
to
it.
do?
Left click it.
Ooh!
Was I right? Was it left click?
No, the outfit. You
What did
were
she
right,
do?
but the outfit she's wearing is kind
Oh,
of.
oh! Oh, that's pretty.
That's why I said ooh.
That dress rules!
Yeah, I had to wait for stream to catch up. Thank you very much.
Fluorescents are all gone.
Ooh, the red
Not
dress
everyone
is
gets to
our
see it
main
instantly like you
dress.
do.
The power feels similar, but the abilities are different.
Interesting.
This is the most amazing dress ever.
Oh. Oh, it's a little.
Chat, do you know Ayu's actually really mean to me behind the scenes? She just plays it off like I'm the mean one.
I think they're blocking us, but why?
Yeah, why are they trying to stop us? You can't
I actually
stop
fifth
the
my life
queen.
after stream.
You have to what?
I fifth my life after stream. Because you always bully me.
Right, bling. Times 100. A common
She actually
currency
found
in
out everything
Maryland.
about me.
A mineral
And
with
now,
a gold shrine.
I fifth my safety all the time.
With a gold shine, essential for everything from styling to adventure. What?
She
What
knows my
nonsense are
full
you
legal
yapping
government
about?
name.
I do not.
She does. She knows my address. She knows my phone number.
If one uses
She knows
shadow
my bank details.
dodge your landing.
She's threatening to dox me.
Hey, there we
And I
go.
feel like it's gonna happen now that I'm calling her out.
Oh. When facing S-lings, you can hold the left mouse button to charge different herbs and aim as you move.
I don't think you're
Interesting.
making it to the ball.
Bro, I'm just waffling out my ass. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point.
Yeah, no, she's just
Way more fun.
wait.
Although, you
There's
really
bling
don't know
down
what's
here.
waiting for us up ahead.
Bling bling.
Hey, there we go.
What, you gonna have a gold chain that says ice on it?
Mhm. Oh shit.
I feel like
we
that's
in
something you'd
now.
own.
We in, boys. Ooh.
Vax help. She knows my
Woven into the threads of
full-blown
the
legal
union
government
to open the temple gate.
name,
This will open the temple.
and she's threatening to use it against me.
She's just yapping the yap, but I'm gonna let her
She's
yap.
the meanest son of a bitch you've ever met. And then plays it off like I'm the
engaging.
mean one.
I'm engaging.
This is a cunning bitch.
Whoa!
Plays
This
this
is
character,
so pretty and sparkly.
and I fifth my life.
Oh my god. So she can't find me?
I might have to do that as well, Vax. Otherwise, she'll use it all against me.
What are y'all yapping about? I stopped listening to you 5 minutes ago.
Wow. You see, she's so mean.
Have been imprisoned.
She doesn't listen when I call her out,
Oh wait,
and then
hot
she'll
women.
pretend that she's done nothing wrong. Hot women?
the
Hot woman.
world comes to a close.
Damn, that's what I'm gonna do to you. Leave you in
Damn.
chains. Okay, that feels like Sunday.
Chose now to step on the stage.
Oh,
It's the outfit. It brought me here.
it brought
This
me here.
outfit, the threads of reunion.
Yeah, she knows my country of residence as well. She knows my full address as well.
I used to dance.
She's threatening to send a pipe bomb in my
With
mailbox.
the owner.
Those were the good days.
There's purple mist going on in the background, lady. Is that her heart? Oh. The monsters.
Monster,
Oh.
how should I feel? Creatures lie here, running through the window.
Oh.
What should I do?
Oh.
Very good. A warm and
Take the gamer juice, are you?
the perfect harvest.
She put her magical
Did you just
ball
plunge the
into
gamer
me.
juice into your chest?
From Aina the curator. The heart of infinity will
What?
grant you immeasurable power.
What is she doing with that gamer juice?
You will lose something.
Please wait.
Journey to Mirrorland.
Who's what?
And revive all the
What is
rare
happening?
Revive
That's
the
her normal
miracle
outfit.
outfits.
You will have the power.
That's the outfit she was wearing before she got sucked in the portal.
Save this world.
Wait, what about you?
She's dead. She gave you her gamer juice and now she's dead.
You may reveal
Ow.
a truth that even
That's the thing she
I
shoved in your chest,
not
was the gamer juice.
What? She got penetrated? What? That was an epic animation.
Nikki, wake up.
I'm waking up. I'm waking up.
Wake up, these nuts.
Oh, you're awake. You've been up the whole day. Momo? I think I was...
Wait, Vax, have you heard of Seema?
Yeah.
What a dream. We were really sent to the middle of nowhere.
What? Are we still in the middle of nowhere?
Yes, yes, yes.
Seema, have you heard of it?
Name. We're stuck.
Oh.
My little pillow. My barbecue.
Damn, no! Don't know my
Not the
jokes, what the
money.
fuck?
Oh, it's all
I'm gonna gamble all. You should gamble all.
Oh.
I remember something about miracle outfits. and
Fuck.
Saving the world or something.
Gamble all right now.
Oh.
Well, at least we're still together. Just think of this as
Chat, I don't know how she
a
puts up with me.
graduation
So
trip.
this is her graduation. I'm just focusing on the story.
Positive is great.
Ah, that's how. That makes sense.
Something feels off about this place.
Well, I mean, we did just have like an whole explosion and like darkness surrounding us and the lady.
She must have sent us
And you should
for a
put a
reason.
gamer juice in your chest.
Mm.
Yeah. You're right. Let's get out of
Who's
here.
Garlong?
Gargalong?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Here you go, Nikki.
Probably one of Vax's imaginary friends.
Strap it on and let's get going.
Gargling on these nuts is crazy.
That's a good one, actually.
That is actually a good one. I was like, what?
I'm doing that one to Shifter.
Loaded
Hold
with
on.
hope. A backpack so surprisingly spacious that it can hold all your dreams and more. Isn't that so adorable? Guys. This is loaded with hope. Hope and dreams.
I'm
Hello,
doing that to Shifter.
beautiful. Big. Thank you for the check-in and thank you for the the kisses and the huggles. Welcome. Zum. Welcome in. How are you, sweet pea? Where's my mouse? Okay. Oh, there it is. Oh.
Boom, done. Done it to Shifter. Easy. She falls for it too easily.
Oh, wait, I can wear a tiara. Oh. Babe. Ooh, any editing needed? Ooh, do you mind if I give you some tomorrow on Sunday? I just need subtitles. Ooh, I love how you come and ask me. You're so sweet. Same.
Are you? When am I getting paid?
How much is some? Just 3.
3 words or 3 videos needing subtitled.
3 videos.
In my chest.
Don't steal my gargalong joke. I already did it, Bax. It's already been stolen.
I know it's a divine blessing. What a beautiful star.
It's gone.
What is it?
Oh, I got you? Alright, bet. Wait, there's a star right here. F to investigate. Approach the vine. Ooh. Wowzers. Hold on, let me check my DMs
Wait, you're checking your DMs?
for Yuri. And she has not replied to me yet, so until she does.
This power. Surging.
Whoa! Obtained a whim star. What's that? Oh my god.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Activate the heart of
What was it?
Shard,
Beekeeping these nuts?
wish fields, and infuse it with the power of whim. Oh, inspirations from your journey are sealed as notes in the heart of infinity. Click here to view the details. Allows you to craft the floating outfit. Acquire! Oh, so we start with the floating outfit, and then we'll probably get the vanquishing one, and then we'll end with the purple, the red outfit. Whoa! Grants the ability to float, briefly float in the air after a jump. Alright, sketch acquired. Click here to return. I wonder if there's more than one outfit.
What's wrong?
Like more than 3, I mean.
I'm fine.
Sorry, I'm yelling at Shifter now.
I think it's called a whim star.
I'm my main editor.
Are you entertain chat for me?
Whimsicality and inspiration. When it fused with the heart of infinity, I felt an indescribable power.
An indescribable power.
Mysterious and deep.
Whoa.
I suppose maybe whimsters are the power source for the heart of infinity. Then we should
You've heard of
find out
Elf on the
what
Shelf.
more
Now here, MILF on the DILF.
Yeah.
Yikes.
When I received this blessing, I acquired the floating outfit sketch.
You want to do that for real?
that awesome blue one?
Right.
Damn.
That one
People
makes me
offering to work for you?
float through the air with
Well,
ease.
I
I just kind of
asked
thrust it
him.
into this position.
I had asked him before, but I didn't want to overwhelm him. So
You don't get paid. She will not pay you.
he knows that. We've already had the conversation.
You don't. It's not worth it if you're not being paid. Trust me, I'm in too deep now. I can't leave.
I'm weak. You can view all acquired sketches here. Click to begin crafting.
I
I
also
would like
don't
to
want to lose my
craft,
sword because I
please.
prefer looking at mod view.
Select pieces. Select all.
Normal
Or
Twitch is
craft.
yucky.
We already
Yeah.
have those. Nikki, before you woke up, I went out and picked some red fruits nearby. I didn't expect we'd need them so soon.
Interesting. I don't need money on yellow.
I need money.
You're
Kind of
so
wish my boss would
sweet.
pay me.
Damn. Whoa! Big round bubbles float up and are happily filled with air. Ooh, I'm back. Ooh, she's back. Yuri, look at these outfits.
Oh my god, is that Yitty Yitty?
Whoa.
This is a fucking
So they're
gacha game.
teaching us how to get the outfits. So you get the materials, craft all, and you can craft the entire outfit. I click to go back. Okay, I'll DM you tomorrow, Zom. Thank you. You're so I appreciate that. I need Ayumii to be happy because I care for my streamers. Oh, I'm always happy. Even if you want to just hang out and talk with me, I'm always happy.
Well, I'm not doing a good enough job then if you're always happy.
Oh, well, are you trying to make me unhappy? Like, what's
Yes.
the goal? Oh, that's unfortunate.
What do you think I've been trying to do?
Are you ready to switch over? Yeah. Let me find a save point.
Is it not just like Genshin stuff or just
It is
save where you
naturally, I don't
left
know.
off?
So let me make sure. Let me make sure.
Stability outfit. It
You
worked.
failed that jump.
I failed it 3 times.
I can float nearly anywhere.
Chronicles of Creativity. Ancient manuscript with illegible text in parts. After
I
the
thought you already
veil
had all these
falls,
abilities. Why you have to go find them again?
It like, I got the dress, then I got teleported somewhere, and then the place I got teleported to took away the dress.
So
then
you got the gamer juice and then
scattered-
lost the dresses you just had.
Scattered the dresses, and now I gotta find all the dresses again. This is like the One Piece. You gotta find the One Piece, but the one dresses.
But there's multiple dresses.
I know, so I'm trying to find a better reference. The Infinity Stones. You gotta put all the Infinity dresses. There you go.
Oh my god, I know that reference.
After the veil fall lost, the wishing one's protection no longer. Maryland once desolate and decayed, frequent disaster survival, even the dark attacks begin suffering. Infinity Stones! The 8 miracles of imagination, the war against the dark protracted, finally welcomed Year 1 AW. Her daughter inherited the Radiant Legacy, founded the Stylist's Guide. Era of turmoil and prosperity belongs to the Stylist. 7 Kingdoms Stylist Guilds expanded, spread to Maryland. I don't know what the hell does any of that mean, but ooh, very picturesque and pretty.
You pay your mods.
I cannot pay them if I can't pay myself.
You pay for yourself all the time. I've seen the amount of money you spend on fucking gacha games.
What? That's from work though.
I'm an employee of yours. You need to pay me.
Oh my god. I'll pay you when I'm rich and famous.
Pay me right now.
I can't pay you right now.
It's my side hustle, bro.
This is your side hustle, so you're not supposed to expect money from here. You're supposed to
Yeah, I am.
slowly grind it up, you know? Let me see.
I don't give a shit. Pay me right now.
Ooh.
I care nothing for you. I only care for the money.
The vines around it are gone. We better
I am here finally.
I feel sorry to tell you that we're ending stream, but I'll be back tomorrow. Well,
If only we had this purification.
hi, Zenji.
Let's find 2
I'll
more
take
Wimp
Chick-fil-A as
stars.
payment.
And then let's
Fire.
hope that the heart
Actually, a
of
side
Infinity
hustle
helps
is
us
for
to
money.
Yeah, it is.
Shh, don't tell her that, Dom.
I
Whose side
know
are you
these
on?
things, Ayumii.
Whose side are you on?
Nikki, look, there's a Wimp.
I'm trying to keep her unpaid intern.
I'm not an intern, though.
What is that?
Bitch, you've seen the work I put in. There's no way I'm a fucking intern.
Ow! S-Ling's attacks will cause damage. Avoid them or you will faint. If your health is depleted. Your health will gradually recover when you're out of combat. Okay. You're
Did
a
you just
little
walk
bitch.
into one of those fuckers?
I wanted to see what would happen. Alright, I lost a heart, bros.
You did it before!
I wanted to know if I could fight back.
You don't have the fighting
Ooh, a
outfit
Wimp
yet.
Star. Yeah, I don't have a...
You only have the double jump outfit.
Oh, so I need 2. Whee! Oh, like I can float gracefully down because of the outfit. Oh, I can't do that. I gotta go all the way. Oh my god, this is gonna... I'm not on a side. Aw. Alright, stay right here.
What if I don't want to
Leave
stay right here?
ending. You're not staying late. No, we got cloud set, so I'm going to find a good place to stop. We're gonna go start up cloud set, and then that's it for today.
Nikki, guess what? I can actually help you locate hard to find Wimp stars.
Really? Oh right, yeah. Oh,
And then I'm going to patiently twiddling my thumbs waiting for Ayumii to come back to me.
Move your mouse left and right to rotate the camera. Look for anything that glows.
Okay.
Because she's a bitch.
Alright, look for anything that glows.
Press F
I
to
bully you so
locate
much.
this Wimp star. And don't worry, I'll let you know about any new Wimp stars that I find.
Well, thank you, Momo. I wish Yellow could be like Momo, just only helpful and not distracting.
Hey, you didn't bring me in here to be helpful. You brought me in here to yap.
I
And that's
did
what I've
bring
been
you in
fucking
here.
doing.
I did bring you into here to yap. Oh, on the air, press Q to suddenly drop and break. Okay.
I feel like you have an ulterior motive when you bring in here to make me less anxious about public speaking.
Public speaking? Oh,
Mhm.
I don't think that far ahead. But
Oh, okay. Well, it worked, so take credit.
Okay. Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I don't like you. You're so old.
The wind through the ruins. The room covered in dust.
You
Oh
are
my
so
God.
old.
Used two
Or some
wingstones
Jack.
to
I bet
in the
you
box
cried when
tackles.
Vine was shut down.
let the magic
I
happen.
did. Vine was the shit. I literally
Oh.
used to watch Vine
you're not saving
videos
yourself.
on YouTube.
You're not helping yourself.
Yo, we'll sit here and we'll watch some Vines.
I
good
did that as well,
Vines.
to be fair. I used to watch those try not to laughs all the time.
Oh my God, they were so good. All right, bet. We need to try not to laugh challenge, okay?
She cried when dial-up was converted!
No, that's not true because
Yeah.
I never used dial-up. So that's the only reason.
Sure you didn't. Bro, you were a teenager when dial-up was still around.
No, I was not. I had, when I was a teenager, we had Blackberries and flip phones. I had a flip phone.
I used to have a BlackBerry!
Yeah.
Bro, that thing was the shit.
Acquired the purification. Oh, we got the purification outfit.
Acquired the sketches
That's
of
the
Wind
gun
of
one, right?
Purity outfit.
Yes, the one to fight
Let's
back.
go. Time to craft.
Just stop! She cried when they stopped using the quill and paper!
You guys are so mean.
No, ew. She cried when they stopped carving the words into stone.
Oh, we have all the materials. Fire! New outfit acquired. Thank you for the check-in, Zenji. I appreciate you. Oh, I'm excited for this outfit. I love these. Ooh, these puff sleeves are so gorgeous. I think I'm actually gonna really love this game. I'm not gonna lie. I think, oh, this shit is so
Imagine you
fucking
forget
good.
about it.
This shit is so good. I might have to cop this outfit. On God, no
On Skibbity.
cap, no skibbity, Ohio. I might have to cop this outfit. This shit is so good.
All right.
Okay.
Wind of Purity outfit is done. Watch out.
Chat, I'm
for
writing
here
Ayumii.
we
I don't know if you can
go.
notice. I'm pulling on those pigtails. Fucking yanking those shits.
There we go. We purified it. Will you be live tomorrow? I will try
No.
to be. I will try.
I'm stealing her tomorrow.
Okay, what are we doing? I think Jay already claimed me. Jay!
No. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. You're mine now.
Jay, did you claim me for tomorrow? I
Jay's-
gotta
I think Jay's
remember. Jay's always
You're
here.
mine now.
Whoa. These murals look ancient.
They do look ancient. Oh. What's
You
that?
look ancient.
We look ancient. Alright, let's investigate. 8 stylists embarked on a difficult journey searching for the legendary. They arrived and listened.
I'm the legendary. Hi. You found me.
The great Dexter wore the courage to face the abyss.
Dexter! Bro, what kind of a name is
Immortal
that?
Praises. I'm weak. What kind of name is that? When will we bringing back Watch Along? I think we're gonna have to change Watch Along to a different day because let me figure out which day we're gonna put Watch Along
Right now.
on. Maybe we'll keep it Sunday. I just need to actually like edit my fucking videos.
You
Oz
do.
left, the dark suffering shrouds the earth.
You do need to edit your videos.
The chosen one. Later generations called them legends. Methods of using whim. Map of the Heartcraft Kingdom and its Perry Perfreed. Perry Berry. Whoa.
Nikki, look. See that fancy stained glass window?
I do.
What's this?
What were the dinosaurs like?
Pretty similar to you. Like, you know, very scaly. Very loud.
Why are you calling me? Why are you calling me scaly?
No way. Wait, are there more dresses?
Are you calling me a
Ooh.
snake?
Blossoming stars. Fairy tale swan. Whispers of waves. Crystal
Ayumii.
Guys, this is where the gacha starts. Oh,
Ayumii witnessed the meteorites that killed
my
the
God.
dinosaurs.
Use resonate crystals allow you to resonate and obtain new outfits. Do I have to do this?
Ayumii
Choose
witnessed the
title
Big
guidance to
Bang.
obtain your desired outfit more quickly. Oh, but which one do I want? Yeah.
Where's with you gacha games, bro?
Damn.
Damn.
Ooh.
Amy, when you put me in one of those dresses with a ring on my finger.
Ooh. We can't afford these dresses, we heard.
You're a queen. You have like infinite money. Just print all the money.
I had to put my money into bonds and stocks, and then it was actually a pyramid scheme, so she's a maid!
Oh shit. Oh, would you look at that?
Oh wait! This is so cute!
Oh, the maid dress is the best one.
She looks like Gura! A mix of Gura and Kobo. This
No,
is
she
so
looks like
cute.
that one kid from Genshin with the crossbow.
Oh. Oh wait, this is so cute. Alright
What is his
guys,
name?
I'm not gonna lie, I might have to acquire every outfit ever existing. I think that's gonna be my goal for this game.
Genshin crossbow kid. Mika!
Oh, Mika! I might wait. There's a limited banner?
You should
Limited?
I would only cop
shit.
the maid dress. The maid dress would be mine.
Oh shit. Where's the details? Where's the details? Click resonate, do I have to? Hold on.
Yeah, that's not IU. That's UA.
Oh my god.
It's UEA.
Alright.
That's a pretty animation.
That was pretty. Title guidance, I guess. Out of these 4?
No, it's not. You're seeing things. I'm not here.
Hold on 1 second.
Pick the green one.
Yeah. Damn.
What is happening?
Hello, who are you? Hi, Between. Hey,
What the
Muya.
fuck?
I actually really like this one. Are they all the like seasons?
I really like you.
Ooh,
The
this
maid
one-
dress is the best one.
I can't choose that one. I can only choose from these 4.
Well, she hates me, chat.
Alright, maybe I'll go with your advice and choose this green one. Alright, I'll just do
You
that.
should. Yuri's telling you to switch over, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch over in a little bit. Hold on. I guess I'll choose this one, even though I really like the snow one. I really like that one too, so. Alright. Alright. Yellow, I'm going to abandon you.
Okay, I'll be twiddling my thumbs waiting for you to be back.
Okay, see you later.
See you later. I love you.
I love
Enjoy
you.
Cloud Set.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'll be bullying you the entire time waiting for you to come back.
Alright,
Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Alright, guys. It's time for Cloud Set. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, even though it was short time. Hold up. Stop hating Yuya. I just got here. What's happening? So I'm gonna raid Moonly, and then I'm gonna start up Cloud Set on the other channel. Hold on, I got you. Shout out the Cloud Set. Is it the cloud? The underscore Cloud Set? Hold on, wait, I gotta see what it is. Or is it... I can't remember what it is specifically. I spelled it right. Or maybe it's because I put a capital. That might be why. The underscore cloud set. Oh, there it is. What the fuck? I thought it didn't work. You know what? Whatever. Yellow, when the Genshin banner changes, should I be evil and pull a 10 wish on the next banner before Ayumii? No, please don't do it. I will be playing Overwatch and getting wins for you, Ayu, and I appreciate that. I just got here. Am I that late? No. We just have cloud set today. So if you go to that channel, we're gonna go live in the next 20 minutes because I gotta set it up and I gotta figure out all the buttons and things. At least I got to see Ayumii. Oh my god, even if it was only for a little bit. In fact, this is a blessing and I appreciate you for that. You're welcome. Thank you, Yellow. And I work again tomorrow, so I will send you more pictures after work. Alright guys, I love you. I'm actually gonna put a schedule out this week. I know I said that last week, but this week I'm gonna just do it tomorrow. As soon as I fucking wake up. Oh my god. I'm gonna do it. And I don't know if we're streaming tomorrow. We might just hang out. I don't know what we're doing. I'm gonna be completely honest. But it will be fun, whatever it is, okay? So thank you for the raids. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for chatting. It was very short, but I love you very much. And I hope to see you again on Monday. Guaranteed Monday stream. We're going to be playing, hold on. Wait. We're going to be playing Goddess Nikki on Monday. I love you too. I'll message you later. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so this one's for subs. And this one is for followers. If it will work. Oh, it's just lagging. Why is it lagging? There we go. Thank you. So grab your messages. Figure out what we're doing. And let's go wish Moonly a happy birthday. A happy birthday. I love you. Thank you for hanging out. I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us last night as well. Love you. Have a good night and say hello to Moonbear for me. Good night. And mwah. Bye-bye. I ate all your cookies and there's nothing you can do about it. Bye-bye!